Oh, we're back. This person wants to know about pansexual representation in musicals. And because I'm a total nerd and I make unnecessarily gigantic spreadsheets for no good reason, let's talk about that. I'm your musical dealer. I help you find musicals that you haven't heard of. As for pansexual characters, nothing comes to mind off the top of my head, but I'm gonna go through this and I'll record whenever I find something. Now keep in mind, what we're talking about today is the main characters. Like, are you the lead? Is this story about you? Found one already in the podcast musical 36 Questions, which is absolutely phenomenal. Both of them aren't actually entirely straight people, even though the characters are in a hetero relationship. How they identify is up to your imagination, but they are queer. But I think for pretty much all of these, whether or not somebody is explicitly labeled as pansexual, that may be really hard to find. Within earshot, they had lots of queer representation going on. There's this song called Anthem for the In-Between. It opens the EP and it's all about, like, why would I want to choose one thing or the other thing when I can have multiple things? It's basically a pansexual anthem. And it's a bop, so you should listen to it. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show also probably falls somewhere within that spectrum. Again, this is a lot of speculation, I apologize. There's a musical called Renaissance, which is not spelled like regular Renaissance, it's Renasscence. It's about Edna St. Vincent Millay, who was openly bisexual, and though I don't think that the musical focuses a lot on that, that is a canonically queer person. Rob Madge, who wrote and stars in the musical My Son's a Queer, But What Can You Do?, is openly queer and trans and doesn't really seem to label themselves as any specific thing, which makes me think that they are probably somewhere on the spectrum of within the bi, pan, omnisexual space. I think Limpicka also counts here because, she was with her husband and then, she was with a woman, so unless she never actually loved her husband, I get the impression that it's very much claimed as a very lesbian musical, but whether or not it actually qualifies as pansexual, duke it out in the comments. There's a musical called Kill the Whale by Daniel Emond, which is a really epic show. And I know there's 2 queer romances in there. Again, haven't seen the show. Might be pan. Check it out. Throw How to Dance in Ohio in that hat as well. Head Over Heels, Pamela and Mopsa and Philoclea all have some kind of queer relationship going on. Pamela and Mopsa might be just lesbians, but also Pamela was being courted by a bunch of dudes at the beginning, so I think that there's probably a gray area. In the musical Cruel Intentions, I believe Catherine is bi or pan, though she kind of uses it as a weapon, and it's not really clear if it's genuine at all, so in the same realm as Frankenfurter, the MC in Cabaret is probably also somewhere in there. And I think that's about all I have. I'm probably missing some. I'd love to hear in the comments what I missed, and if there's any that you feel like didn't belong on this list, go for it.